Hey guys, it is JB making a second video this evening. It's Thursday, January 31st, winding down. It's about 11 p.m. here in Palm Springs, California. And as I was winding down, I was just thinking about a few things. Wanted to make a few more points about what we're witnessing happening here in America and across the globe and why you need to be prepared. But, I was thinking to myself, we all have an instinct, we all have that gut feeling, and we have to listen to it. If you feel that everything is going to be okay, then, that's what you believe. But for the people out there that feel that something is wrong socially in this country, something is wrong economically in this country, maybe something is wrong spiritually. You've got to listen to you. You've got to listen to your gut, and you need to make the proper preparations in order to prepare for what we may be experiencing sometime soon in America. You don't want to be late when something happens. You don't want to be reading about it on the internet when you wake up that, we just had a collapse, we just had an EMP, we just had some kind of civil unrest. You don't want to be reading about it. You want to be prepared about it. And again, there's people out there that think nothing's going to happen. And if that's what you believe, I respect that. You probably aren't going to have much in common with what I believe. But by all means, I believe that things are heading in a very negative direction. And that is why I personally am preparing for it. And what I'm saying is, you do not want to be a second late. Much better to be prepared and be a year early or 5 years early than to be a minute late to an emergency, to a financial collapse, to any kind of catastrophe that we could possibly be seeing, a terrorist attack, an EMP, a natural disaster. Much better to be prepared early than to try and prepare after it's happened, because after it's happened, it's too late to prepare. So we need to listen to our gut instinct. We need to listen to our heart. We need to listen to ourselves and ask ourselves where this is all going. And am I prepared? Am I ready? I'm a factual person. I look at numbers. I look at statistics. I look at the facts. And I make a rational decision after I review everything. And I think we can tell a lot about what's going to happen tomorrow if we study what's happening right now today. And there was an interesting article I was reading today regarding gold eagles and silver eagles in the U.S. Mint. If we look at gold eagles sales for 2018, 58,500 gold eagles were sold by the U.S. Mint in 2018. Fast forward to, and this is January of 2018. We fast forward to 2019, January, 64,500 gold eagles were sold in the first month. So 2018, January, 58,500. 2019, January, 64,500. Now we go to January 2018, sales for silver eagles from the U.S. Mint were 3,235,000. January 2019, silver eagles, U.S. Mint, 4,017,500. So that's a huge, huge increase. That's a 25% increase in silver eagle sales and a 10% increase in gold sales. So when you start looking at that, that raises a flag to me. Why are people now surging back into these metals markets and buying silver and gold back up? And I think, again, It's a lot of uncertainty. People are getting nervous. People know that they need to prepare. So we just look at this trend right here that we're seeing an increase in precious metal sales just right here at the U.S. Mint. That's not including all the countries and central banks that are stockpiling tons of this stuff all over the world. Again, you need to be your own central bank. Look at these trends. There are a lot of people waking up and they know the two most valuable assets are going to be gold and silver. As I said earlier, most people believe everything is going to be okay. Most people believe if we have another crash like we did in 2008, that the central bank, the Federal Reserve, is just going to bail everybody out and things will just go on as normal. And as I've said many times, you know, if you follow the herd is going to take you right off the cliff. Don't do what the majority does. The majority always loses. Be the minority. Be an independent thinker. Be responsible for yourself. Don't be a part of the majority. They're going to lose. You need to detach from the zombie type thinking and prepare, because, you know, I'm going to just go off of a couple articles from Zero Hedge from the last couple days. And when you read this stuff, the damage has already been done. It's irreversible. We are so far in debt. We are so far over the cliff. There is no going back. The only thing you can do right now is brace for impact. Prepare for the devastation when this economy breaks loose. And it's going to be a wild ride. And the majority who are unprepared for it, who are not going to be able to evolve to a new environment, who are not going to be able to adapt to a new standard of living, who aren't going to be able to drive the Mercedes or the BMW or live in the house that they were living in, not be a member of the country club, they're going to have a very hard time adapting to their new lifestyle. And they're going to be so unprepared, so shell-shocked when this happens that, you know, we're going to see people lose everything. People are going to lose their lives. People are going to be suicidal. People are going to be angry. They're going to be violent. They're not going to know what to do. They're going to be hostile. They're going to go absolutely nuts. And the only way I think you get through something like this is to prepare for it mentally, physically, and spiritually. If you're aware that it's coming, you're going to be that much more prepared when it gets here. And if you can be self-sufficient or self-sufficient as possible, you're going to adapt to an environment. You're going to adapt to this period of time and get through it. So, but going back to some of these articles on Zero Hedge, U.S. pending home sales crashed the most in 5 years. The housing market is falling off a cliff, and people that I know in the business right now, they're just doing nothing. And you know, these people that I knew that used to love putting their pictures up and, you know, talking about sales on Facebook and their open houses and their listings, and all, they've completely disappeared. These people who've gotten into these real estate markets in the last year, they're making no money. They're not selling anything. And I don't know what a lot of these people are going to do as this market now is slowing down. Buyers are waiting on the sidelines. They know that the market is changing and prices are going to start reflecting that, as we're seeing listings exploding on a lot of these markets. Days on market, homes are staying on the market longer. The amount of listings, we're seeing double-digit listings coming on in a lot of the counties here in Southern California. We're seeing prices starting to come down. And it's going to be harder and harder to sell a home, and it's going to be harder and harder for people in the business of real estate to stay afloat. So this is going to be very interesting, because this really is a bellwether to the economy, real estate. And now your big investment companies, your big hedge funds, they're trying to get out. They're trying to dump property. They're not coming in and buying it. And the question is, who are the buyers? We know globally things are slowing down also. Zero Hedge today, 440 Chinese companies issue profit warnings. So, you know, the future guidance for a lot of these Chinese companies is not good. It's negative. We look at future guidance for a lot of US companies, it is not good. Yet they're trying to manipulate this market and keep it going up. When you start looking at what's really happening, you have to question how in the world can these markets be going up when we have so much negative guidance. Amazon had to pull back their first quarter profit guidance for 2019, yet, the markets continue to move. We were only down 15 points today, and yet they're throwing everything at these markets to keep them going. Again, quantitative tightening, they're going to ease up on that. The Fed is going to be patient with future rate hikes, and we're going to see more money flowing into these markets with quantitative easing coming. So basically, the Fed and Jerome Powell have just laid down and have been taken hostage now by these markets. They're too afraid to do anything, and they really can't do much because a simple rate hike can set these markets into big trouble. A 25 basis point raise can do devastation right now to these markets, and they know that. So Jerome Powell is very worried about that, and they're in a very bad position because when this country goes into a recession, we don't have much to budge being at 2.5%. So the question is, do we go back to zero or do we go negative? What's going to happen? We're going to find out. This country needs a reset. This country needs to get back to a gold standard, a precious metal standard, whatever it might be, silver, gold, a combination. It needs to get back to some precious metal standard. There is no accountability. We have a Fed. We have a country that just prints money out of thin air and nobody is accountable. We need to get back to a precious metal standard like the gold standard so that there's accountability, that this cannot be abused, that money can't just be printed out of thin air, and that we don't have these abuses. Because when you have the ability to just print, this is what happens, and this is what is happening across the globe. Countries are printing currency into oblivion, and it's devaluing currencies around the world. And this is why we're going to see more Venezuela-type things happening, more Venezuela-type events happening in America, because when your currency gets run into the ground, it's worth zero, and you need a wheelbarrow of money to go buy a piece of food. This is what happens. Collapses happen, and it's chaotic. It turns violent, and everybody pays a price for it. And so we've got to get back to some accountability, because if we continue doing this, we're going to be another Venezuela right here in America. And I know a lot of people think that can't happen, but that's what Venezuela said many, many years ago. Now look at Venezuela, look at Latin America, look at Europe. Countries who are socialized, countries that are printing money out of thin air are collapsing. And we're going to be one of those countries because we've printed more than anybody. We're the greatest debtor nation in the entire world, and we're going to pay a huge price here in America. And this is another reason why I'm telling you things aren't so great, and I'm telling you to get ready and get prepared, because the day of reckoning is coming to America. Another sign that things are coming: gold now, zero hedge. Gold is at an 8-month high. Another article: Hampton's home sales fall 35%. Owners refuse to lower prices. This is pure greed, and these are the people that usually really get hurt, whether they're in the luxury market or they're just in the medium price market. When people start getting greedy and believe that their piece of property, their home, is worth more than the market is saying, the market dictates what a piece of property is worth. And a lot of people just think that they're going to control the market and wait it out. If you think you're going to wait it out, I'm pretty sure a year from now, this real estate market is going to be much worse. I've seen this happen in the past where people think that this is just temporary, they're going to wait it out, and they lose a whole lot more. So I think, and again, I don't give investment advice or financial advice, but I think if you're in the market to sell, I think sellers need to get very real right now, because this coming year, I think real estate is going to really, really get hit. And we're already starting to see it happen. What am I reading here that is actually telling anybody out there that real estate's going to get better? Like, listen to what I'm saying. Do you think, after what you've just heard me talk about for the last 5 minutes, do you think real estate is going to improve? There's no way. I mean, when you have half the country making less than $31,000 a year, when you have people acquiring this much debt, you have people living paycheck to paycheck, you look at future guidance here in America, in China, and across the globe, take a real good look at what is coming right now. Harley Davidson reports biggest miss in 10 years. Consumer confidence collapses as job hopes crash most in 50 years. So none of this is going to help the real estate market. And this is why we're going to continue to see slumping numbers in the real estate market. Now, a couple more things I want to talk about, and I'm going to wrap it up. It's getting very late. But if we start looking at the 2019 retail numbers, this is going to tell us a whole lot more too. These numbers go from about 2018 into 2019. These are the coming closures of your brick and mortar retail stores. JCPenney's closed 140 stores in 2018. They'll be closing 8 more this year. Macy's closed 70 stores in 2017. They're closing 11 more in 2019. Victoria's Secret will be closing 20 stores. Crocs, 47 stores. J. Crew will be closing 50 stores. Abercrombie Fitch will be closing 60 stores. Sam's Club, 63 stores. Claire's, 92 stores. Brookstone, 102 stores. Foot Locker, 110. Guess, 120. Michael Kors, 125 stores. Kmart, 160 stores. Gap, Banana Republic, 200 stores. GNC, 200 stores. Signet Jewelers, which owns Kay's, Zales, Jared, a couple other stores of the jewelry stores you would see in malls. You know, there's usually an area in your local malls that is all jewelry stores. There is a big corporation, Signet, that owns a lot of those chains. They're going to be closing 200 stores. The list goes on, and this is just a portion. Sears, 222 stores. Subway, 500. Ann Taylor, 547 stores. Rite Aid, 600. Mattress Firm, 700. And Toys R Us will be closing their remaining 735 stores. Now, if you think the economy was booming, look at the amount of retail that is closing. And this isn't even like, you know, this is just a small portion of what's going on. And then ask yourself, what is going to happen to all this vacant commercial real estate? Commercial real estate, I'm seeing vacancies all over Riverside County. We've got millions of square foot of vacant space out here. And obviously, we're going to be seeing millions and millions and millions and millions of more vacant square footage throughout the country as these retailers are going to close up. A lot of these are anchor stores at malls, in shopping plazas. What is going to happen to the smaller stores that depend on these anchor stores? This doesn't just affect one store. This affects a lot of the smaller stores and suppliers that depend on these bigger stores. And imagine the amount of people now for 2019 that are going to be unemployed because these retailers are closing. So these are things to really think about. And this is why I truly believe in my heart that this is heading in a very negative direction. And it's another reason why I'm preparing and why I'm telling people to prepare, because I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel right now. I see a lot of darkness down that tunnel. It's going to be a very deep tunnel, and we are just in the beginning stages. When this thing really sets off, we're going to see some very turbulent times in America. And again, you might think everything is okay. That's your opinion, and we all have our own opinion. But I have to go with my gut instinct. I have to go with, what my brain is telling me when I'm reading stuff like this. And my brain and my gut are telling me that these are going to be very, very rough times for America. And this is the best time right now to be getting prepared. I hope that this is delayed, which allows me more time to prepare even more. But get in the mindset, if you think something's wrong, get in the mindset that, hey, I realize something's wrong. Something is coming. I need to prepare. I need to protect myself and my family. I need to protect my financial future. I need to be buying gold. I need to be buying silver. I need to be buying firearms. I need to be trained. I need food, water. Another big thing too is clothing, water, trauma kits, first aid, medicine. These are all things that we need to be putting away because it may not be that accessible if we get into really dark times. Just think, if you were in the Midwest and your power is out and it's 50, 60, 70 below zero right now, and what if you don't have power for a week? Can you survive? Start thinking, getting in the mindset of what if this happens? What if that happens? Am I ready? Can I survive for more than 3 days? Can I survive for a week, 3 weeks, a month? And I mean, these are things we need to be asking ourselves and preparing. So just wanted to kind of go over this with you guys. Please comment below what you think is going to happen, how you're preparing, how long you're prepared to weather the storm. Can you go a week? Are you prepared for 30 days? Some people are prepared for 6 months, a year. What kind of food are you putting away? What kind of water storage? Just comment down below what you're doing. We learn so much with what other people are doing, especially in the comments. Like I've said, I am not the smartest person in the world. There are a lot of people out there watching this that are much, much smarter than me. So any of your comments are greatly appreciated because so many people read those comments and we learn so much reading what other people are doing, and really, really do appreciate that. So just winding down the night here, kind of wanted to just talk about this a little bit. Some of you may think things are going to be fine, that there's nothing to see here, that the dollar's going to be fine, the economy's going to be fine, and I certainly hope it is. I really hope it is. But hope doesn't keep me alive. Being prepared and being awake does. And from what I can see, from what I'm reading, from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing physically in my area, from what I'm reading from you guys in the comments of what's happening in other parts of the country, I'm probably not as prepared as I should be. And I'm going to really focus in the next couple months to get even more prepared and more trained. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Have a fantastic evening. Have a great rest of the week. And I will talk to you very, very soon. Again, thank you for all the great letters. Thank you for the nice donations. Thanks for viewing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe and please share this video. We need to continue waking as many people up as we can. God bless you guys. Talk to you very soon.